What up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. Today is a super fun video. We're doing Disney today, and what I wanted to do was 3 iconic Disney recipes. I am totally in my Disney blues mode right now. If you're somebody who goes to Disney parks, you know what happens if you don't have a trip on the books. We have annual passes, and we only live about 3 hours driving distance from the Disney parks, but I do not have anything official booked, and we have not been there since October, and that was only one night at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Prior to that, it was July was our last actual trip. So I'm definitely in the Disney blues mode to try and cure it a little bit with some Disney treats. For my birthday or Christmas a couple years ago, my sister-in-law got me something that had been on my wish list forever and I just never bought myself, but it's the Unofficial Disney Parks Cookbook. And in here they have so many iconic Disney recipes, and we're gonna take on 3 of them today. First up, we're gonna do probably one of the most iconic Disney snacks there is out there, and that's the Dole Whip. We're gonna take it on in my kitchen tonight. We're also gonna make a refreshing little mocktail, and I'm gonna make some mint juleps. And then last but not least, one of the Disney snacks that I think is a little overrated are the Cheeseburger Spring Rolls that everybody goes crazy for right outside of Adventureland and Disney World. I don't know that they're really worth the hype. So we're gonna try and make them at home and see if a homemade version is any better. John is gonna be joining me at the end of this video, and we're gonna do a taste test on all 3 of these little treats I'm whipping up. I also am gonna put him on the spot and ask him for a couple of his favorite memories from both Disney World and Disneyland trips. I feel like I'm always wowed by his answers when I put him on the spot, so that's what we're gonna do tonight. All right, without further ado, let's dive into the cookbook and the recipes. Okay, so probably shocking to no one, I am a hot mess as usual, and I did not actually read these recipes ahead of time, and I was just thinking this one didn't need much preparation, but it turns out it does. We're starting off with the Dole Whip. The first thing this recipe says is that you need to take some room temperature water. You're gonna microwave it with 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to chill the water for 2 hours in the fridge. We do not have that time, so instead what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put some ice cubes in it and ice it down a little bit. I really don't think it'll affect the texture too much. So in order to accommodate for the fact that I'm going to be adding those ice cubes, I'm gonna do just shy of 1 cup of water. That way I don't end up with more liquid than I should. That's looking good. So now we're gonna do 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Basically what we're gonna be doing here is creating like a simple syrup. Okay, so it says to stir the sugar right into the water, and then we're gonna be microwaving this for 1 minute, stir it again, then microwave it for another minute. All right, so we did the first minute, I'm gonna stir, and then we're gonna get back in the microwave for another minute. That was in the microwave another minute. You can see most of the sugar has dissolved. So this is the point where it says that I need to let it chill in the fridge for 2 hours. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop some ice cubes in it to bring down the temperature a little bit. And then I'm gonna prepare the other items and hope for the best, basically. By the time it's done, hopefully we can make the Dole Whip. All right, next up we're moving on to the Cheeseburger Spring Rolls. So first we start by putting just about 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil down in the skillet. And then it says I need 1/2 medium onion. So I already had some onion diced up for myself from the other day. And then it says 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. So I have some fresh minced garlic going in there. All right, so it says to let this cook for about 2 minutes. So I'm gonna let this cook for 2 minutes, and then we're gonna add some ground beef to it. Okay, this has been going for about 2 minutes. The onions are starting to get a little translucent, so we're gonna drop in some ground beef. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to salt, pepper, and season that beef, and I'm gonna be using some cowboy butter. Now, the recipe actually doesn't call for anything besides salt and pepper, but I've made that mistake in the past. John and I really like seasoned food, so I'm not gonna make the same mistake again. I'm gonna go ahead and season this up. All right, we're gonna let this cook for a few minutes until the ground beef is browned, and then we're gonna bring in some sauces. Okay, so now I turned off the heat. I'm gonna hit it with a dash of Worcestershire sauce. This is not part of the recipe, but it's something I think will be good. And then I'm gonna add some ketchup. So it says 1 tablespoon of ketchup. I will link the recipes down below and also write down my amendments, if you will. And then we've got another tablespoon going in of yellow mustard. The recipe calls for you to take the beef and lay it on the egg roll wrapper and then lay some cheese on top, but I just feel like that's gonna get messy. So instead what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix the cheese into this while it's still warm, and then I am going to just have to only scoop one thing onto egg rolls, and I feel like that'll be less messy. So it calls for 10 tablespoons of shredded cheddar cheese. So that is a little over half a cup, so I'm just gonna eyeball that and just get some freshly shredded mild cheddar in there, but you could, pepper jack would probably be good if you wanted to like spice it up a little bit. And I'm just gonna stir that until it's mixed in and melted down a little bit. Okay, now it says to set this aside for 10 minutes to allow it to cool. So you want it off of the heat, set aside for 10 minutes before moving on to the next step. Okay, so the good news is that earlier we made some simple syrup for the Dole Whip, and you actually need to make simple syrup for this recipe. So we are gonna be making a mint syrup. It was a cup of water and a cup of granulated sugar. I just took about half of the mixture that we made earlier, and it says to add a tablespoon of mint extract, which I'm gonna do shy of a tablespoon because that sounds aggressive. And then we're just gonna stir that in there. All right, so I don't know if you guys remember, but during my Marshall's haul, I grabbed these adorable little tumbler cups. So that's what we're gonna be making the mint juleps in. So I've got Daisy and Donald chilling right there. It says to put some ice in the cup. Okay, next up it says half a cup of lemonade is going into each of the cups. Okay, now we're going in with half a cup of seltzer water. And then now what we're gonna do is take 2 tablespoons of this syrup and put it in each of them. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and stir those guys up with the straw. Beautiful. And then I have some cherries right here. So we're gonna garnish these with a cherry, a mint leaf, and another cherry. Like so. Do you want to be Daisy? You could be Daisy.
I could be whatever I want to be.
Yeah, you can be whatever you want to be, John. Okay. It fell in the thing, but that's fine. Everything's fine. This is a mint julep. Okay. Iconic Disney drink.
Disneyland.
They have it at Disney World too.
Where?
Do they? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm never seeking out a mint item on a menu. You know what I mean?
True.
I have some great news about this recipe. First of all, I love it, which is weird. But second of all, the simple syrup that they have you make in this recipe, it's actually like a large amount. Not like a large amount, but there's like a cup of it remaining.
You made that syrup?
Yeah. You make the syrup. Yeah. So it's like some store-bought, some actual work, but it was relatively easy to throw together. But there's enough remaining simple syrup and enough remaining everything else that we can have mint julep for the next week if we want to. It says it holds in the refrigerator for up to 2 weeks in an airtight container. So I have like little jars. They look like kind of like old school milk jars. I'm just going to keep it in there, and then if we want a little afternoon treaty treat, there we are.
There you are.
I'm going shockingly, I'm going 8 on that. I know, John, I don't know. It was very refreshing. It's funny because it looks like a Christmas festive drink, even though it's the day after Christmas, but it's summer vibes. Like, it's like summer in a glass.
That's what I get.
I think that it would be like a crowd pleaser if you had people coming over or whatever. And you could, this is a mocktail, but you could make it alcoholic. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is the book specifically says that if you're not a fan of mint, like your girl, you can switch out the extract flavors. So instead of doing mint extract, you could do like orange extract or something. Because it's basically just getting mixed with lemonade. So like anything that you can imagine, I think everything goes with lemonade. So what are you giving that one?
I'm going 8.
You're going 8 too?
Yeah, I'm going
Tying
8.
it up?
Solid.
I just feel like that's a vibe. Like I just feel like it's fun. It's refreshing.
The problem is when I have a mint julep, I want to be in Disneyland with some beignets.
Yes, and shake up the bag.
Come
with
on.
the powdered sugar.
That's where I just want to be with
That's the vibe. But overall, did this give you a little bit of a hint of Disney at home?
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, that it just transported me back to Disneyland,
Right.
specifically New Orleans with the beignets.
Yes.
I felt like we were transported over
I
by
agree.
the train station in the back.
I want to be there so bad. Anyways, what we're gonna dive into is I'm gonna get going on the Dole Whip because that takes about a half hour for the ice cream machine to go.
Oh.
So we're having Dole Whips tonight, John. Once the ice cream machine is going, I'm going to start on the Cheeseburger Spring Rolls. We're having Cheeseburger Spring Rolls.
Oh,
John is just finding out this information because you know how we don't love the Cheeseburger Spring Rolls? I'm wondering if like a homemade version will love it. You know? So we'll see.
Listen,
okay.
if you're making it, I'm sure I will love it.
Let's hope. All right, we're gonna get that feedback over to corporate for this one, and you guys are diving into another recipe. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing is getting 3 6-ounce cans of pineapple juice right into my KitchenAid. I have a ice cream attachment, and I'm gonna just set it to low. Friends, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how loud my KitchenAid mixer was until I went to edit this, so voiceover it is. As I stated, I added 3 6-ounce cans of chilled pineapple juice, and then you end up adding half a cup of that simple syrup we had chilling in the fridge from earlier. Then you just add a tablespoon of lime juice. That's it. Then you just let that ice cream maker run for a half hour or whatever your ice cream maker settings are. I was really nervous because it took probably about 7 to 10 minutes for me to see any actual progress for this, but eventually it does get into Dole Whip form, so this is one of those trust the process moments. Stick around till the end when we try this on camera and share our rating and honest feedback, but I'll share some clips of exactly what the progress looked like as I checked in on it. Okay, so since that KitchenAid mixer was going and had an aggressive volume, I'm also going to walk you through via voiceover how I finished up this Cheeseburger Spring Rolls we had started together earlier. This is my first time ever making something like this, so I just ordered the only wraps my grocery store had because I had no idea what I was doing. They are the Nasoya plant-based egg roll wraps, and I must have had some type of rookie luck because they were amazing. You lay the egg roll wrap down like a diamond in front of yourself, and I just used like a flexible cutting board as my workspace. And then you put about 2 tablespoons of the burger mixture we made earlier down. Don't forget, I have my cheese mixed into it. If you didn't do it like that, you'd also want to sprinkle a little bit of cheese over it. Then you just brush a little egg wash on the opposite tips of the diamond, so I did the top and the bottom. And then you want to roll the egg roll tight like a burrito and then set it aside. Now, the recipe said this was going to make 10, but I think I ended up with something like 15. So you could either go a little more on the filling on each, but I didn't want to do that because I didn't want them to burst while cooking. Or you could just make sure you have enough egg roll wraps like I did. The other option, obviously, is that you'll just have extra filling left over if you want to just make the 10, and you could consume it by itself because it was really good anyways. Once I had those all assembled, I poured 16 ounces of vegetable oil into a nice deep pot. I used one of my candy thermometers to make sure the oil temperature came up to 350 degrees, and then I went ahead and did batches of egg rolls with usually somewhere from 4 to 6 egg rolls each batch to make sure they had enough room. You let each side of them cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just a heads up, the first batch might take a little longer than the next couple of rounds, so don't get too comfortable. Make sure you keep an eye on the second and third rounds. You want those to bubble up and get golden brown, but not get too crispy. Once they were fully cooked, you just transfer them to a plate lined with some paper towel and allow them to cool. All right, let's go check out that taste test and see what we thought about these other 2 iconic Disney recipes. If I look like I'm melting, it's because I am, okay?
I'm melting.
She's melting. Movie face, did we do the thing? Is it focusing? It is, right? I think so.
Think so. Hope so.
Hope so. If not, oh well. You guys.
They look like...
These look legit.
Fantastic.
Like she knows what she's doing. John went ahead and mixed together some of you might think this is disgusting, but we love ketchup and mayonnaise.
Listen.
Why did I say mayonnaise so weird?
Call it what it is. It's fancy sauce.
It's fancy sauce. And we love it. So I want to try the spring roll without the dipping first, and then try it with the dipping sauce. Okay? Go ahead, sir. That's your serving. Here we go.
Boom.
Good crunch. Well then.
Why does that taste so much better than the one at Disney? Is this exactly the recipe?
Okay, you know me. I added a little, but I mean, for the most part, it followed it pretty much. I feel like I gotta come in with some drama here. Look at that. Look at it. I just needed you guys to hear that crunch, because the crunch is what impressed me. Okay?
The whole thing impressed me.
We like to say, here's the thing, and here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Those Cheeseburger Spring Rolls are incredibly hyped up for Disney. I keep trying them again and again at Disney, thinking at some point I'm gonna understand the hype. And I never have. If they were like this, I would understand the hype. And we have tried to go there like fresh when the car opens and they're fresh. We've tried every time of day. And I have never understood the Cheeseburger Spring Roll hype.
Those are fantastic.
Those are fantastic. I'm going 9.5.
I'm going 9.5.
9.5. You almost said 10. You were close.
I want to give it a 10, but
you got held back. I think maybe a little extra cheese would have maybe sent it over the edge, but I am so impressed with the texture and the crunch of that egg roll, because I don't have a deep fryer, you know what I mean? So it's literally just like vegetable oil on the stove. I'm blown away. Definitely a 9.5. Amazing. Now,
definitely a 9.5 recommend.
Definitely recommend. Like, if you want a little Disney magic at home, maybe you're one of the people who understands the hype on those Cheeseburger Spring Rolls, and I am happy for you. These are even better. Not gonna lie to you.
You need to make these. Like, these are just little puff pastries of joy.
Puff pastries of joy, people. That's what he's going with.
They're not puff pastries.
And kids, I think, would go crazy for these.
This is perfect.
And you could hide vegetables in it super easy.
Super easy.
Like, if you wanted to put some like butternut squash in with that mixture.
Look at you.
Because butternut squash it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. So if you just put some steamed butternut squash in there, they would never know. You could probably even sneak some broccoli in there. They would never know.
Carrot.
You could do anything you want to. You know what else would be great in there? Some diced pickles.
Some diced pickles.
You know those sweet petites? Dice them up, throw them in there.
You need to stop it.
Okay, anyways, we're moving on to the iconic Dole Whip.
I will say the color is...
Is there?
No.
Oh.
I feel like the color is...
Well, they probably put like yellow dye 5 or something, you know?
Yellow dye 5. What is that from?
I have no idea.
Die Hard.
Sorry.
If you know, you know.
I should remember it because we watch it every year on Christmas Eve, but I barely got to watch it.
When he describes the Twinkies.
Oh, I do remember that part now.
Yellow dye number 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That flavor is point.
It's so simple too. It's literally just pretty much pineapple, sugar, and a little bit of lime juice.
It
would be very difficult to mess that up.
Fantastic.
If somebody out there has one of those fancy ninja creamy things and you're not making a Dole Whip, you guys need to get your life together.
You know the Dole Whips that we bought at the store?
Yeah, this is way better. Way better.
Hands down.
And if you wanted to like step this up a notch, I bet you could put like a scoop or two of vanilla ice cream in with it and make it more like a pineapple like creamsicle situation.
Oh.
I'm going 9. What I think would make it better for me, and I know you're not going to agree, is lihimoy powder. If anybody has been on the island of Oahu, lihimoy powder is one of the most delicious things they have there. I'm sure it's other places as well, but I didn't discover it until I lived on Oahu. Sprinkle of that on there. It gives it almost like a sweet and sour vibe. Or if you're into tahini, a little bit of that on there would probably be great.
You can get that at Disney.
Yeah, you can get that at Disney. The lihimoy, I actually, when we used to go to the Disney parks, remember? When we would go to Disneyland, I would actually bring some in. Because Dole Whip needs to be accompanied by lihimoy. But guess what happened? I go into my pantry. Do I have any on hand? I certainly don't. So I need to rectify that. Anyways, this was a massive success. All 3 of these iconic Disney recipes were on point in our house tonight. So
Facts
we just saved ourselves $17,000 today. To be as dramatic as possible.
17,000?
I'm just making stuff up at this point. Because if I was going to go to Disney, I'd want to pick out like the Princess Diana suite at the Grand Floridian. So that's like $17,000.
Okay. Or we could just take the RV and go.
It's girl math. I'm right. I saved us $17,000.
I'm going to give that an 8.5. I would give it a 10 if you did exactly what you said.
With the vanilla
I
ice
was
cream.
going to go 9, but then you said the
Oh,
vanilla
then I
ice
brought
cream
that up
was
and you said, wait a minute.
Oh, that needs
There's
to
some
go back
improvement
in
possibilities.
Half a point.
I see. Okay. Now, John, I have a question for you.
5.
I told them that I was going to put you on the spot because I feel like I get the best responses when I do this. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, in your opinion, is Disneyland greater than Disney World, or is Disney World greater than Disneyland?
They're not, no.
No?
No.
It's not a yes or no question, sir.
No. You don't ask a question like that.
I have an answer ready to go.
It depends. If you have 3 days, Disneyland. If you have a week, Disney World.
I disagree. I think the Disney World...
Nostalgia, Disneyland.
Okay, my thing is this. If you've never been to... Let's phrase it this way. If you've never been to a Disney park ever in your life, and you had 7 days, and you could pick either Disneyland or Disney World, which one would you tell them to pick?
Disney World.
You would tell them to pick Disney World?
If you had 7
Somebody
days?
who had never been there before.
Yes, because I feel like you could do Disneyland in 3 days and be done.
I feel like you could, but I feel like you could also do 7 days and like have it be enjoyable. I feel like Disney World, if you've never been to either of them, and you only have 7 days, which 7 days sounds like so much when you haven't been to a Disney World park. Can you do it? Yes. I've had people that'll tell me, I have 4 days, I'm gonna be in Florida, can I make Disney World work? Even if you have a single day, I could advise you on how you can make it work.
Well, okay, so here's my thing. If you
Here's his thing.
If you have...
We always say that.
If you do it, really?
Yeah, we both do.
Disney World has so much to offer, and you can stay inside the Disney bubble. Whereas if you go to Disneyland for 7 days, I feel like you're going to want to leave and go somewhere else after like 3 or 4.
I'd say go to Universal.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Universal.
I know.
We're talking about Disney, so come on.
You're kind of convincing me. But I kind of agree. Like if you only have 3 days, Disneyland greater than.
Yeah.
If you have more than 5 days, I would even say. Then maybe I would say Disney World. But here's my thing.
Okay.
If you've never been to Disney World before, this is my #1 tip. Anytime anybody asks me, this is always what I start with. And that is to set your expectations appropriately.
Facts.
You will be miserable if you try to tell yourself that you're going to accomplish everything that Disney World has to offer. I'm going to tell you guys this. We have a second YouTube channel. It's called the Costco Chronicles. And we haven't touched it since, I think, June. And on that, our mission was that we were going to go to the Disney parks once per month, at least, minimum. And we were going to try in the year of 2024 to do every single attraction that Walt Disney World has to offer. 140 attractions, I counted, okay? And I think we got to maybe 60. And then life got crazy and we haven't been able to go to the parks the way that we had planned out this year to go. Yeah. But we were there for a solid once per month for the first 7 months of this year. And we didn't even touch half of the attractions that they offer.
True.
I just want everybody to understand that if you go to Disney World, it's the most magical thing. I am obsessed with Disney for a reason. It does not lose the magic no matter how many times you go.
Nope.
But it's because we go in with low expectations. We always say we just want to accomplish these 3 things. We pick out 3 things that we want to do, and that's all we care about. And then anything over that is gravy. Yeah. And I get it because people are like, I spent thousands of dollars on this trip. If you spent thousands of dollars on the trip, you want it to be a quality trip. Right. You want to enjoy your time with your family.
Like the things that you do, you want the expectation for those particular things to be high.
Yeah, and you want memories made.
Right.
Happy memories. John and I have probably gone to the Disney parks 30, 40 times. Every single time, if not multiple times during our trips, we see families having absolute meltdowns because of the stress that it causes to be like rushing to this ride or like trying to make a lightning lane or like trying to make a reservation.
And kids are going to be kids too. And they're also, especially if it's their first time, they're getting the sensory overload.
Yes. And I think the thing is, like, I remember when I was a kid and John said the same thing, is that when we would go to Disney when we were little, we just wanted to go to the pool. We didn't even care about the parks. And I cannot tell you how many times I hear that from the kids. We'll be on the buses or in the monorail or whatever, and the kid will be saying to the mom, I just want to go swim in the pool. And the mom's like, well, you spent all this money on park passes. We're doing Pirates of the Caribbean. Just give yourself grace. give yourself a small agenda, and then just allow the parks to tell you what else you're going to fill in with it. Disneyland, at least we haven't been there since 2018, so a lot of which I cannot even stand the fact.
Did you just say 2018?
Correct. We're approaching 7 years since the last time we went to Disneyland.
We're gonna go for this.
That should be illegal. The 60th, no, 70th,
70th
is next year.
We're gonna go
2025. Anyways, Disneyland, I feel like, is a lot less overwhelming, and it's very compact. The parks are directly next to each other, so you can park hop very easily. Now, the other thing I was going to ask you, John.
Oh, we got multiple questions.
Just one more question. What is your favorite Disney memory? And I would like one, if you can, knock into the DOS system for both Disneyland and Disney World. What's your favorite memory?
Ooh, Disneyland favorite memory. Oh my gosh.
I have mine. Do you want me to say mine?
Yeah, say yours.
So we took my sister in 2018. It was her first time at Disneyland, and we went on Indiana Jones. And this girl tries to say that she's not into Disney. And I have never seen somebody so excited walking on a ride in my entire life. At Disneyland, that's my favorite memory, is taking my sister on Indiana Jones. We also have a really epic picture of the two of us in front of the castle, like with ears on.
Oh yeah.
And that's like forever gonna be in my memory.
That's
it's one of my favorite photos. On top of the first time taking John, because we both were Disney World snobs our whole life. We had only been to Disney World, and we're like, Disneyland is so teeny tiny. What a small park. Look at that baby castle. In 2013, I got to go to Disneyland because I had a work conference close by. So I got to go to Disneyland, and I got on the phone with John at the end of the day, and I was like, this is the best park to ever exist. You have no idea. He's like, that's not possible. So in 2014, I wanted to prove him wrong, because that's what good wives do. So I took him to Disneyland, and then he immediately agreed with me. He's like, yes, this is the best park ever. This is so amazing, blah, blah, blah.
The problem I have with like nailing down one great memory is that every time we went to Disneyland, everything about it was a great memory. To me, all of Disneyland wraps into the Disney history, and that is
your favorite memory.
Like
your discovery of the history and everything behind it.
Yeah.
One man's dream.
Wow.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah, that's
it all started with Mouse. Can you come up with a Disney World one?
Taking the kids for the first time.
Meeting Mickey Mouse with the four of them. There are not four. There are only. I've done a head count several times. I think meeting Mickey Mouse with the three of them was definitely a core memory of mine. But my favorite memory was actually when we were behind the castle and we watched the fireworks and Belle came out.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be able to top that Disney memory. Belle came out and talked to Oliver, our oldest son. I think the twins were passed out in the stroller. But Oliver was watching the fireworks. He had like headphones on because it's loud. But she approached him very gently. She got on his level and he was like, no, I want nothing to do with you. She tried to give him a high five or something. And he was like, no, I want nothing to do with you. And she was like, okay, thank you. And then just immediately exited and waved at him from a distance and like still interacted with him, but did it on his terms.
Yeah.
And I just was like reminded of the Disney magic. And then also like the 90s Disney baby in me was like, son, seriously, that's Belle. She's royalty. You're going to reject her high five, sir? It was also great to see how Disney characters are trained to make sure that they're making everybody comfortable in the parks and they're not forcing interaction. It was just magical with the fireworks going off and Belle in her beautiful dress coming to say hi to Oliver. It was just adorbs.
I think I nailed it to my one particular memory that stands out.
At Disney World or Land?
Disney World.
Okay.
When all the kids booped Mickey Mouse on the nose.
Oh yes, like when each of them had hit that milestone.
They all had that interaction separately. The whole memory just stands out for me.
Anyways, we just wanted to, since it was Vlogmas and we're kind of freestyling a little bit over here, I wanted to put John on the spot, get some memories shared, because we've had so many magical memories at Disney.
And if you're a history buff or nerd and you haven't read into the whole Walt Disney and the history of Walt Disney, do yourself a favor and read up on it, because it is mind-blowing. And I always loved Disney World growing up as a kid because it's Disney World.
Right.
But I have a completely newfound respect for Walt Disney and Walt Disney World and Land and the corporation and how it became what it did.
All right, so we're going to get all that feedback and all of these pixie dusted memories over to corporate. Please share with us what your favorite Disney snack is if you have one, because I definitely want to do this again. I hope we delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye.